Hi guys, it's Mrs. Butcher. I wanted to go over some math for the week. So we are getting into place value, which we've done all year. When you look in volume 1, there's a lot of place value, but in volume 2, there's a really good chapter that if they need a refresher on place value, and place value has to do with ones and tens and counting and two-digit numbers and your hundreds chart and finding the patterns and numbers. So if your child is struggling a little bit to remember a little bit about place value and ones and tens, they don't need to do the chapter 5 in volume 2, but at least if they would sit and look through chapter 5 just to give their brain a little bit of a reminder, because it's got counting by tens in there with tens and ones, 10 and some more in the math book, and just how to, how to group the tens and the ones. It has how many tens make and ones to make. So we've got all the way back from our place value with tens and ones and how it makes a number using rods. 10 more, 10 less. So even if they just look through chapter 5 in their math book, just to give their brain a reminder of some of the things we have done, that will really help them this week. And for next week when we're getting into addition and subtraction with regrouping. It even gets into comparing the numbers, less than, greater than, and equal to, numbers to 120. So it gets this is something we did not get to, adding in this hundreds, which is something we would do with this block in class, making 10 tens make 100. So chapter 5, especially in the later part of the lessons, would be really good for the kids on their own time with you when you have a chance to go over and review. I know there's been some iReady lessons, but seeing it right in front of them physically to go over that would be really beneficial when it comes to the next few weeks' lessons. So again, that's chapter 5. But being that we only have, this week and next week, when it comes to learning, we wanted to be sure that we hit chapter 6 with you guys this week and next week. So in your math books, or again, you know that it's on the McGraw-Hill, on Clever, the McGraw-Hill app. You can also get to this book, but it is way easier in this book, as we've discovered. But if we look at chapter 6 to begin, it is the two-digit addition and subtraction, and it will go over to show you. You could even show the kids, have them do this, which is called I am ready. And that just lets you give a heads up, like, do I need to go back to chapter 5 and review some things? Because since this is called Am I Ready, you can have them do this page and it will let you know, oh wow, we need to go back to chapter 5, or nope, you still got it, or let's just refresh ourselves and keep ourselves going. You also have some vocabulary for the chapter we're going to be in, and these are good with the number line and vocabulary. And I'm going to quickly and briefly go over lesson 1 in chapter 6 and lesson 2 for your Monday's math. iReady this week has a whole lot of lessons on this edition because it's a big chunk of the first grade, what would have been focusing on these last number of weeks with the kids. So iReady Math this week has teacher assigned lessons that are really important to be doing and getting a good understanding of them, and that those will be extremely beneficial. So if you give me a moment, I am going to get set up and go over a few things out of the math lesson to help you for the next few days. So 1 second as I move my computer and scroll. Okay, so I am back, and one thing I wanted to go over is in class we used rods the tens, and then we used our ones. And just as a reminder for the kids that, you know, one rod or one stick here is worth 10 because 10 ones equal a 10. And so that is something that they would need a reminder on. Of course, you probably don't have these manipulatives at home. And so you could think about using, you know, pieces of cereal or 10 separate beans. And if you had some sticks, maybe Q-tips or something, or toothpicks could be your tens. But if the kids are needing maybe some manipulatives as a reminder. So we would always say like tens and then our ones. And so if I have this number here, I would have 4, and this is worth, make sure you can see that, 10, and 10 plus 4 gives us 14. And so a lot of the place value is what we worked on with the kids. And so I'm going to show you today out of the math book. So like I said a little bit ago, we're going to be in chapter 6, and I'm going to quickly review lesson 1 just real quick. This lesson is on adding tens and tens. So if I have 7 tens, which would have been 7 of our tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I add one more 10, that would make it 8 tens. Easy peasy on that, but it's really the kids understanding the value of that. And so if I had 7 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and one more, 7 tens makes 70. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And if I add one more 10 in there, that makes 8 tens, and 8 tens makes 80. That is something that is key to understanding place value. And so we don't want the kids to think that I have 7 plus 1, because this is not 7 plus 1. This is actually 70 plus 10, because here's our 7 tens and our 1 10. Okay. If it was 7 plus 1, like I said a second ago, it would have been 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 1 to make 8. And there is a big difference in the kids. And I would always say, would you rather have $8 or 80? So really being sure that they are remembering that these are worth 1 and that these are worth 10, and we count them by tens. Well, obviously we don't have our rods and our ones. And so another way that we would do that is for a 10, we would just draw our stick. We don't want them to take the time drawing all that up. So we would just have them draw a stick. And for our ones, you can either put a square or a dot, and that would be our ones. So if I was looking at, I need to get my tissue or something. Didn't think about that. If I was looking at 70 plus 10, I would be thinking that is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 plus 110. So I have 70 plus 110, which would make it 80. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. We do not want them getting into that habit of saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, because that will end up confusing them, especially in the older grades as they're going on. And so if I was doing 50, okay, so if I have 50 plus 40, of course that would be our 0 plus a 0, because we have 1s, and 5 plus 4, which is 90. And we want them to show also in learning the next few days that we always, 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 for the rest of your life, I always make that a thing with the kids. How long do you have to start in the ones place? For the rest of our lives. 0 plus 0 is 0. and 5 plus 4 is 9. And so I also could, to the side could be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, plus 1, 2, 3, 4 tens, which was 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So you can also draw it next to there. And so that is lesson 1, where they're trying to show you how we can do our tens plus our tens. And that is lesson 1, and you can look in the book to give yourself a little bit of a review or an adding with that. So again, if I was to do 60 plus 30, I can have them go this way. And 60 is 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, plus 30, 1, 2, 3, 3 tens. So I have 60, 70, 80, 90. So I can use my place value this way using base 10, or I start always in my ones place. 0 plus 0 is 0, and 6 plus 3 is 9. Now a 9 in the tens place makes it 90. Okay, so that is what we're doing right there. Miss Marshall this week will also start to show you how ones place when they're different numbers. You will get to that too. So the other lesson that I wanted to go over is lesson 2. And this is the one where you will end up turning in the sheets from the workbook just by taking a picture and sending it in to us. And this is where we are going to be adding 2-digit numbers plus 2-digit numbers. Okay, so lesson 2, if I was looking at my book, I am looking at count on tens and ones. Okay, and here I would be modeling for the kids. So 35 plus 3. And so what I would have had out, I would have had out my 30 plus my 5s, ones for 35, and then 3 more ones, so plus 3. Okay, and so here I would end up grouping my tens together, or my ones together, I'm sorry, my ones, so that was 5 and 3, which makes 8, and then I have 3 tens, so 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Since we don't have our base 10 blocks with us, since we are all at home, I would be doing for 35 plus 3, I would do 10, 20, 30 plus 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, because again, here is my tens, here is my ones, and then I would do plus 3 since it's ones place. 1, 2, 3. And so all together here, I have 8 ones, and I have 10, 20, 30, 30 tens, and 30 plus 8 makes 38. And so with a little more detail and talk with the kids, that is what I would show the kids. And then together, we would be doing the guided practice together. So this is where you will want to kind of work with them and go over these with them, teaching together, practicing together. And then the independent page on the side is where you would want them to do it on their own, and you go ahead and help them out along the way if they need it, but it's more of an independent practice. So if I was going to find 26 plus 3, I would count on by my ones. So I have 26, here's 26, 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, plus 3, which is represented here, 1, 2, 3. So I start at 26, so I know this is 26, and I would say 27, 28, 29. And so I would have an answer of 29. You want them to be sure that they are starting counting with what's already over here. For example, find 26 plus 30. I have 26 here, 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and I'm adding 30 over here, so 30. And as it says here, start at 26 and count 36. So this was 26, 36, 46, 56. Okay. And so at this point, we're not doing any regrouping with anything. And so some of the kids might end up saying, well, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, and that's okay for right now. When we get into regrouping, it might end up showing them a little bit of trouble. So counting on is what we're trying to get them to do. So the 47 plus the 2 more. And so here we've got 47, 10, 20, 30, 40 plus 7 ones. So 47, 48, 49. Well, the strategy here is learning to count on. So if I move on to 47 plus 20, I have 47, 10, 20, 30, 40 plus 7, and then I have my 20. So 47, 57, 67. Okay, so it's counting on by 10, so plus 10. Okay, and then here I have my 13 plus 3, so, or 13 here, plus 3 more, and I'm counting on, so 13, 14, 15, 16. And we're counting on. Now, I've always told the kids to count on from the bigger number. So here I have 30. So I could go 30. I could go 40, 41, 42, 43. Or I can choose to do my 13, which would then be 10 more. We're used to 10 more. So 13, 23, 33, 43. 10 more on each one. Okay. So the kids would then go ahead and work independently on this page. First, they will have the use of the manipulatives and the pictures, but then they'll go on to working on this part, kids. So again, I have counting on. And so I have the 30 and the 22. If the kids would like to help them out, they can always write it this way. We always start in the ones place. So 2 and 3 plus 2 is 5. Again, that would have been 30 plus 20, so that'd be 50, and we have our 2 ones. So that is what you are going to be working on. Like I said, this is lesson 2. If you want to look at lesson 1 before this and practice that, and then get on to lesson 2, and then there's some problem solving on the back that you can also continue to do. That's deeper thinking and really good for the brain builders. All right, guys, after this, you would have plenty of practice on iReady lessons that have been added to your accounts. Thank you.